Live. I think we're good. All right, let's do it. We're going live. We're back. Here we go. We're back.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Alrighty, we're up. So.
Up and going.
Up and going. Nobody's in here yet, but we will be running in a second.
Yeah.
So give it some time, get some people in here. We got 2 viewers.
There we go.
What's going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. If you're West Coast like I was, with no sense of time, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to tweet this out real quick.
I suppose I can do the same.
I suppose we can do that. Can't see how many people are in here, but we're going to be running in just a moment. Please be patient. We'll be live in just a moment. We got nobody on TikTok either.
Money bag emoji. Oh, look at the times for these games while we're at it.
All right, we're going to get going in just a second for people chilling, waiting for us. Stand by. We're almost there. Four games today, 4 games tomorrow, right, Sam?
Yes. 2:40, 5:15, 7:25, and 9:55 are the tip-offs for today. I'm assuming they'll probably be a little earlier tomorrow.
Yeah, I would agree.
Or they're like half an hour earlier.
Stand.
Why? It's so stupid.
It's because it's Sunday. It's got to be a matinee for everything.
Yeah, it's like 2:10 opposed to 2:40. Like, make the first game at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock.
I know. It's pretty crazy. Alrighty. So do you want to get moving? We can do the bracket simulation first. We can run through and kind of do the projections. That way when you start to get everybody rolling in here, getting situated in the live stream, we can hop to the picks for today so nobody misses that type of stuff. Welcome to the TikTok chat. Let people get rolling. All right, I guess we just start going. So it's Saturday. We have the Sweet 16 upon us. Then what is it? Monday, Tuesday, we have the Elite 8. And then the weekend after, we got the Final 4. And then I believe it's the couple days following that upcoming weekend is going to be the championship also.
Yeah, I believe it's Final 4 Saturday, championship Monday.
That's usually how it's done. Okay. Some interesting matchups. We have Gonzaga. I'm not taking this off, Sam, by the way, until they're out.
I mean, that's fair. You probably had wear it on for a while, so
that's what I'm hoping.
But the biggest hope of beating them was Iowa, and seems that will obviously it will not happen. But I mean, it turns out the Pac-12 is the juggernaut conference of the country. So
who saw that coming? Nobody?
Yeah, it turns out like just because no one watches them doesn't mean they're bad. It's actually the best conference in America, and they have the best teams that have been just criminally undervalued all season. So I want to see. I hope it's the USC team that gets to face Gonzaga. I think they have the best team to beat them.
I would have to agree, but also I would say a hot Creighton team poses a really big threat, and that's the game we have. I believe it's tomorrow.
That's the first game tomorrow. I mean, we've seen in their past 3 games played the highest of highs for Creighton and the lowest of lows. Like where they went on, what was it? They allowed Georgetown to go on what was almost a 30-0 run on them, in the Big East championship, but then they do the same thing to an Ohio team in the round of 32. So, which team are you going to get against Gonzaga? I'm assuming we're going to get the latter against Gonzaga. I mean, you need to bring it, or you're going to get run out of the gym. So,
Speaking of Creighton, they should have lost in the first round to Santa Barbara.
that's right. Yeah, I mean that was an upset pick of mine. I thought that the Santa Barbara could pull it out, and really they were right there, but some late game shenanigans.
All right, let's continue running through this bracket today. Well, today and tomorrow this weekend, we have Gonzaga versus Creighton. That's tomorrow. We got USC versus Oregon, also tomorrow, I believe. Michigan, Florida State, that is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
And then we have UCLA, Alabama, also tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. So how about today?
I'm just going to say, before I even get to the second half of this slate, or the first half, I guess, since they're happening today, tomorrow's games are a lot better than today's games, I would say.
Oh, 100%. I would say, like, of tomorrow, I'm in love with all 4 games. I mean, I don't hate any game today. I'm going to watch them all, and I'm going to bet on them all. But I'm definitely more intrigued. Like, the Florida State-Michigan game should be a great one. Alabama-UCLA, with the surging, Pac-12, that could be a hell of a game. So, yeah, I mean, first game today, we got 12 seed Oregon State and 8 seed Loyola Chicago, just like everyone thought, right?
Yep. And then as we move on the day, we have Arkansas number 3 versus Oral Roberts, a 15 seed. We got Baylor at number 1 against 5 Villanova, and then we also have Syracuse an 11 against Houston 2. We've seen the Syracuse 11 seed story before.
Literally, what was it, 5 years ago?
It was when we were freshmen in school.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was
supposed to make the tournament. They should have
right.
gotten the at-large bid. They didn't. Syracuse got in, and then Syracuse made a run to the Final Four, and then you really can't say anything after that because they proved that they belong. So, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be a Houston team. We're going to get to that a little bit later, but I guess before we kind of tackle today's games and against the spread and really going into the betting side of it, I think we should take a look at kind of what the model predicts going forward. We have 16 teams left. Obviously, today's the start of the Sweet 16. Model is going to spit out a winner. It's supposed to figure out against the spread, kind of little sweet spots to bet in against the spread, but it's going to give us a money line winner no matter what. So we're going to kind of project the bracket forward, go through that, games that are going to happen. So let's start here. I guess we'll start with the first game today. It's Oregon State, Loyola, Chicago. Sam, the model's broken somehow. I don't know why, but it's going to predict a Loyola Chicago win. We'll get to
go to the effective field goal percentage. I don't know, it just says LK there.
You know what? There you go.
And not our function.
Pop a quick formula in there, and now we're set. So I'm not going to give you scores because we're going to get to that a little bit later. However,
keep the intrigue.
Yeah, you're going to keep a little mystery here. We have Loyola Chicago predicted win. We have a Baylor predicted win. We have a Arkansas predicted win. We have a USC predicted win. Gonzaga, Alabama, and Michigan all moving on to the Elite Eight.
Wait, hold on. That was wrong.
That was wrong?
Yeah. Oh, wait, never mind.
So I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Not really many shockers, I guess I would say. It's just they're the 1 and the 2 seeds that I don't feel like I would expect to be this far. Like I would pick the other 1 and 2 seeds like Ohio State that got knocked out, and just I don't know, like Illinois. Like these teams are a lot more explosive, but you have
the entirety of the Big Ten, teams. You mean?
Say it again?
The entirety of the Big Ten?
The entirety of the
outside of Michigan?
I kind of feel like we got duped and played for fools with the Big Ten this year and kind of the hype surrounding it.
Yeah, that's like they've been the highest, all the highest rated teams like in America, like consistently. Like Illinois, Iowa, Ohio State, Michigan. For the latter part of the year, they're all top 10 consistently in the AP poll, despite losses because they lose like to each other. They lose at Minnesota, at Michigan State. Like not a bad loss they claim. So, it's gonna be curious because the ACC was very frowned upon this year. It wasn't a great conference. I mean, rightfully so. So it's gonna be curious to see like how good both those teams actually are in Florida State and Michigan.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, so with those matchups, and Sam, correct me if I'm wrong here, but we're gonna have Loyola Chicago versus Houston.
Yes.
Okay, and then we would have a Baylor versus Arkansas matchup.
Mhm. Yep.
Then we'd have a USC Gonzaga matchup, and we would have
Hmm.
an Alabama Michigan matchup.
That would be correct.
Honestly, based off of matchups, I feel like the wonkiest one there is Arkansas Baylor. Arkansas is a team that wants to run. Baylor's a team that kind of wants to slow it down, but they can still score. Loyola, Chicago, and Houston. I tweeted. I forget what the matchup was. It was Houston versus. Oh yeah, it was the possible Houston versus San Diego State Sweet 16 matchup, and I said that the total's literally going to be like a 115 or a 110 because both of those teams are like very big defensive teams. But honest to God, Loyola Chicago versus Houston, I feel like that total deserves to be lower than San Diego State Houston.
We're gonna have a double-digit total.
This is a
in the
defensive
Elite
battle. USC Gonzaga, they're going to want to run. Alabama Michigan, kind of a little bit of a clash. It's just going to be a very solid basketball game, I guess I would say. But as for that, I'm going to read the score predictions for that because they're not actually real games yet, and these are tentative, possibly will change. But a little bit of a surprise, we have Houston 62-61 win over Loyola Chicago predicted. A lot closer than I would expect, but Loyola plays good defense, and the model likes good defense. So
yeah, and well, I mean, Loyola Chicago is one of the more higher-rated like teams in the country when it comes to like these advanced stats. So I'm still on the board. Like they shouldn't had no business being an 8 seed. I would have seen them hopefully between a 4 and a 5. So or they should have been at least.
I agree.
Because they were top 25 almost all season, and you're going to give them an 8 seed. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's just really hard to, I guess, gauge the strength of schedule for a team like that because we saw it with the Big Ten on the complete other side of the spectrum, where it's like the Big Ten, Power 5 conference, overrated. All those teams get 1 seeds, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, 4 seeds. Even Michigan State ends up like arguably didn't have a good year and still ended up, I think, on the same line as Loyola Chicago. Oh, no.
They were in the
playoff.
They were in 11. They played UCLA and lost in the play-in, but still they made the tournament. They probably shouldn't have.
It's true, but we see UCLA still rolling.
That is correct.
Probably going to get rolled by Alabama, but you never know. We'll see. We'll get there later today. Okay, so that's going to be a little defensive battle. We're actually predicting a 60-62 game, or 61-62 game, so 123 on the total. I bet you it comes in under 120. And our model is predicting an over, but I still don't agree with it.
I think it'll be like at maybe like 120, 121-ish. Yeah. I can see it just cracking 120.
It'll be in that department.
I think if people see a 100 and then 1, and it could be 111, 119, whatever, they're gonna jump all over that over.
I know. I agree. Alrighty. Next possible matchup: Arkansas Baylor. We're gonna predict a 83-77 Baylor win against Arkansas. I feel like that's pretty fair. Baylor's definitely a better team than Arkansas, but Arkansas is one of those teams that can get you on your heels when they want to push the pace. They play at one of the highest tempos in the league, so I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's March. What do you think?
Yeah, and Baylor, they probably prefer maybe slow it down a bit, but they do have the weapons to keep it go punch for punch with Arkansas. So I think I think it's a fair score though.
Yeah, pretty fair. Next is going to be USC versus Gonzaga. Looking at a 82-72 Gonzaga win. Do you think this is fair? A 10-point spread or?
I think it's a fair spread to start at like 10, between 10 and probably 12 as the ceiling there, I would say. But, I mean, USC has, they have the talent, I think, to hang around for a bit. But, yeah, Gonzaga is just seems like they're too good right now. So, for anyone besides like a Baylor. Yeah, no, 100%. For now.
No, I think Mobley, his defense can really play up here if he can kind of. No, but I say that, and he can only really guard one person, and then Gonzaga turns to the other 4 or 5 guys that they have.
The other 3 NBA guys they have.
I don't know. It's just wild when there's a team that's going up against Creighton and our 13-point favorites.
Yeah, and cover.
Yeah, and they can.
Or no, I'm thinking about last week. Never mind.
All right,
But yeah,
last Elite Eight game that we're going to cover. Possible matchup is that going to be Alabama versus Michigan. It would probably be a Monday or probably be a Tuesday game since that game or both of those games are starting tomorrow. We're looking at a 76-72 Michigan win. I mean, this game could be more of a toss-up. I feel like the line's going to be closer to even because Alabama gets some respect now somehow.
mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What do you think? I could flip a coin and see Alabama winning this. I could flip a coin and you could tell me Michigan's going to win, and I would probably believe you both sides. So this is going to be a dog-leaning game for me, I would assume.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think it could be a blowout either way. If Bama's hot from three, I think they can, and if they can get going, like push the tempo, they can blow the doors off Michigan. But at the same time, if Michigan can run off the 3-point line and just pound them inside, I think they can run away with it. So it's this game. I think is the most. I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but it's going to be the most discrepancy of what could happen. In my mind, at least,
It has the possibility for the most variance.
There we go. I hope it's a close game, but I could definitely see this being getting out of hand either way if either team really does what they want to do, and that's for Bama push a tempo, hit some threes, but I don't see an answer to Hunter Dickinson. So at the very least, he'll keep him somewhat close.
That's a good point. Alrighty. So with those predictions, we would look at a Baylor versus Houston, Gonzaga versus Alabama, Final Four. So all 1s and 2 seeds. You got 3 1 seeds and 2 seed Houston in there. It would give us a 70-68 Baylor win over Houston. That's pretty interesting. And then we would get a 89-80 Gonzaga win over Alabama. So still a 9-10 point spread in the Final Four for Gonzaga. I would imagine it's probably going to be in the upper single digits, probably around that 7-ish, 8 number. But I don't know.
I think Bama has, of any of the teams left in the field, probably the best or maybe the second best odds to beat Gonzaga.
Mm-hmm.
If they're firing all cylinders and they have the intensity on defense, force some turnovers, and get out in transition, and knocking down threes, they have the best build at least to beat Gonzaga. Them are probably Baylor, obviously. I mean that makes sense. I think they're the number 2 overall seed. So, that'll be fun. I really hope we like. I always look forward to these like matchups, and so many times they don't happen. But I think this. I think we're looking at. I think it was a hot start for the Cinderella teams, but generally around now they tend to fade off, and the truly elite teams, show themselves.
Yeah, I agree. So based off those projections, we would have a Baylor versus Gonzaga in the championship and would get a 86-82 Gonzaga win.
Hey, a predicted score of Gonzaga within 5 points. That's a victory in my book for Baylor.
All right. You want to back it up a little bit and start tackling today's games?
Yeah, let's get on to today's games. Let's get some picks out here.
All right, let's get it moving. Okay, so first game of the day, we have Oregon State visiting Loyola Chicago. The lines have been going crazy today. Up and down, but we have Loyola as a 7-point favorite, 125 on the total. We're projecting a 67-59 Loyola win, giving us a Loyola predicted cover, and 126 points scored. So basically right on the button there with what Vegas is throwing at us as the line for the total. I tend to agree with this line. I feel like it's pretty accurate. Oregon State is a pretty good team. They're explosive. They're on fire. But I would tend to lean with the team that plays solid defense, has shown consistency with solid defense. And I don't know.
I totally agree. I think that Loyola is going to beat the shit out of them.
You think so?
Oregon State, they weren't a tournament team by where they weren't even close. They weren't in like the next four out, the next four after that. But they got hot at the right time, and they won the Pac-12, so they were able to force their way into the tournament, and they won a couple games. That's awesome. Loyola Chicago they're one of three teams here that have a player with Final Four experience, and that's that big man down low, that big ugly guy. Now he's a beautiful specimen of a man. That's peak athletic performance right there, and I think they're going to run them out of the building. Maybe not run them out of the building, but I like the -7. I'll put it that way.
I don't know if I would bet it. I feel like I just think the line is too good and too accurate to the point where I don't want to mess with it. It's March, and banking on Loyola Chicago to beat Oregon State when we're calling the Pac-12 the best conference. I don't know.
Yeah, you got me there. I'm very big in the Pac-12, but I'm also big on Loyola Chicago. Yeah, I think it's more of they're better than everyone expected.
I agree. I don't know.
With the 6 seed USC probably has the talent of a 3 seed, more like it.
It's throwing me off here that all of these lines are pretty big and we're in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, so that's what happens when you get these Cinderella teams. But this is always the Sweet 16 is always the kicker with the Cinderella teams. Like, are you actually a very competitive, very good basketball team, or are you it's an outlier? This isn't really you guys. Kind of stepped up a bunch, and that really happens. You can see it a lot in the first week because you're playing, only 2 days after your big win over the 2 seed.
Yeah,
it's now you've been sitting around for a week, maybe you're cooling off a little bit. Obviously, you try to keep the intensity like during practice and whatnot, but Loyola's been there. They don't have like only 1 or 2 guys that are on that team, but they got a coaching staff that knows what they're doing. So I think they'll have the guys ready, and they're going to have a great game plan for a surging Oregon State team. Lock them down defensively, and Oregon State, what they've been doing recently is they've been out rebounding everyone. Mm-hmm. Like they out rebounded Oklahoma State by 20 last week, and that's probably the biggest part of their win. Did the same thing to Tennessee, but Loyola is also a great rebounding team. So, I think, yeah, I've said it enough times. Loyola.
Okay.
-7.
Let's move on to the next game. We have Villanova versus Baylor. For this one, the spread is Baylor -7.5. We're looking at a 71-74 Baylor win. Sorry, I was getting really confused. Yeah, Baylor win. However, this is a team with stats based off of
pre Gillespie injury.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is a tricky one to handicap only because the numbers are not really telling the full story here. Dude, I don't really know. I'm inclined to think Baylor is going to handle them. However, I feel like Jay Wright is also going to have a good enough game plan, and that's why Villanova has gotten this far. Like, I wasn't very high on them in the first round. I thought they were going to lose to Winthrop. They didn't lose to Winthrop, then also did not lose their second game, which has given them the right to play number 1 seed Baylor. So, I don't know, Sam, you got anything else to offer on this one?
Yeah, so I've picked against Villanova the past 2 weeks, like money line wise even. Like I had Winthrop and I like North Texas last week too. And Villanova not only just won these games, they like really handled these games, had no problem whatsoever with either team. Winthrop maybe got a little close at one point, but they still ended up winning that game by 10. And then they just blew the doors off North Texas by 23. I'm starting to think that, they actually are still a good basketball team. Even
they
with
definitely
the
are.
I'm starting to think it. It might be crazy, but I know they're still missing Gillespie, and that's, going to be the downfall probably in this game. But 7.5, that's a lot of points for arguably maybe the best coach in college basketball in Jay Wright. They still have a lot of talent on that team.
They do.
Outside of Gillespie, I'm not sure if anyone on the team was on the past Final Four team, but
I don't think
at least
so.
they at least have Gillespie there in the locker room. You
Rooting them
know,
on.
yeah, rooting them on and kind of leading them. So I think they can cover that 7.5. I really do. I know
They
the
could.
model is without is more a lot of that with Gillespie, but
What do you think?
I I think I'm gonna take or I'm definitely gonna take Villanova with the points.
All right, there you have it. I tend to lean with you. What's his name? Robinson Earl.
Mm-hmm.
He stepping it up big time.
He's pretty good.
Pretty good guy. Pretty good basketball player. Okay. Let's move on. We're gonna go to Oral Roberts playing Arkansas in the Sweet 16, number 15
Oh,
seed.
there's one other guy. There's Jermaine Samuels was on as a freshman on the Final Four team.
So the eternal bench player.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to Oral Roberts versus Arkansas. With this one, we have an 11.5 point spread. Arkansas favored, 158.5 on the total. We're looking at a 86 to 77 Arkansas win, giving us a predicted Oral Roberts cover by a pretty hefty margin, I guess you would say.
Got a couple points of edge there.
A couple points, maybe like 3-ish. I don't know. I don't have the exact calculation in front of me. The thing that stands out here, and it would be deviating against the model, but Arkansas, their adjusted efficiency margin is 22 on the year. Oral Roberts is coming in at a 4. So 18. Arkansas is expected to beat the average D1 team by 18 more points than Oral Roberts is. So just spitting out the fact that there's a 11.5 point spread, that alone would have me leaning towards Arkansas, unless for whatever reason you can sell me that Oral Roberts is a statistically better team than Arkansas. Because right now I'm seeing Arkansas owning them on the boards and Oral Roberts beating them off the 3-point line and getting about two more buckets behind the 3-point line, accounting for 6 extra points, which I think makes up for that big difference there. I don't know. This is interesting, Sam. This is very interesting.
Oh, it's very, very interesting. Like, my heart, I want to take Oral Roberts points so bad, and I probably still will. But, obviously, like, 4 points to the, your average team is a bit concerning. And I was just saying how, generally this is when the Cinderella teams fade off. But Oral Roberts can score.
They can score, but Arkansas can score in the SEC. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, like this dude, Max Abmas of Oral Roberts, he's a bucket, averaged 25 a game this year. Unless he's going nuclear, they have no shot really against this Arkansas team. I think Arkansas has kind of realized they were kind of given a gift here. Like they were expecting, like, oh, we're probably going to get Ohio State, maybe Florida in this matchup, or maybe even a Virginia Tech team that's still a decent team, not Oral Roberts. And you could say maybe they'll sleep on him. I doubt that. I think Arkansas is. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm leaning out Arkansas points. So.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a time to sleep on Oral Roberts, it was Ohio State, and we saw them physically do it with our own 2 eyes. But now after winning 2 games, I don't know if Arkansas is necessarily going to take them lightly, especially when they're not guaranteed another game if they do take them lightly. So I think this is going to be a good old-fashioned spank job from Arkansas, unfortunately.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with you. One of these games has to be a blowout.
It's going to be this one, I feel like.
And I think this one has the biggest probability of it being. And the lines would say that as well.
Yes, sir. Okay. As if your brain didn't hurt enough, let's move on to Syracuse versus Houston. We have Houston minus 6.5, 140.5 on the total. Predicting a 63-69 Houston win. So a little sneaky Syracuse cover in there by about 1.5 points. I don't know. We're projecting 131.8 points on this game, and it tends to trend to give us too many points predicted. So with the total at about 140, we're getting a very, very solid under. I'm just
That's
gonna.
a ridiculous total. That can't be right.
It's right. It's. I
It
promise you,
is.
it's right.
Oh, it's wrong. It's 141 now.
Yeah. Like I don't understand why it's so high. This game is gonna end up like in the 50s probably. Maybe one team possibly squeaking to 60.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, dude, I don't know why this line is so big. I don't know if a team gets to 70, let alone both.
I think maybe one of them might crack 70, like 71 maybe.
The winner, maybe.
Yeah, but like it's require both teams hit 70, which I do not think will happen. Like, because apparently people forget how to attack a zone in the NCAA tournament, or does Jim Boeheim's a wizard and is like casting spells on like opposing players, and then they just don't know how to efficiently play offense.
That's what I'm thinking
It
here.
it baffles me.
It's a 140 total. On one side, you have Jim Boeheim with his zone, and he's going to slow down Houston big time. No matter what, they're going to be like, hey, this is a zone in front of us. We don't know how to break it. We don't know how to put a simple big man right on the foul line and play through this guy and run an actual efficient offense. Then on the other side of the coin, we have Buddy Boeheim, the only person that can really score on that offense. Going up against the top defensive team in the country, you got to imagine they're going to have an answer for him somewhat. He's still going to get his points. He'll probably still score 20, maybe 25, but you're not getting 45, 50 more points from that Syracuse team against the best defensive team in the country. I just think if Syracuse can stifle Houston enough, this stays under comfortably, and I'm very, very, very willing to throw that out there.
Yeah, I definitely like to staying under, and I also like Syracuse being in this game to the very end. I think it's going to be a very tightly contested battle. You know, Syracuse is obviously grooving. They, I forget who they played last week, but we're going to find out. Yes, West Virginia and San Diego State, two good teams. They beat up San Diego State. They had a hell of a win against a very good West Virginia team. No, Houston is a very good team, especially defensively, but so is Syracuse. They have outside Buddy Boeheim. They still have some offensive weapons.
Who?
I'm not saying we have these lethal scorers.
Guerrier?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of Guerrier. So, I mean, Gerard can hit the three.
Yeah, but we're looking for extra guys on Syracuse's offense that could potentially contribute when Houston has 5 guys that damn well know how to play college basketball defense. So,
I mean, we're both in agreement here that there's not going to be a lot of scoring in this game.
I don't even want to talk about the side, but we have to because we have people relying on
But what I'm saying is that I love Syracuse to cover. Dare I say win?
If I say
no,
if I go against that notion there, then I'd be stupid because it's Jim Boeheim's Syracuse in March.
It doesn't make sense, but it happens, and it's happened numerous times before.
It has. Okay. I'm with you there. I kind of feel the same way about this game that I do about the Oregon State Loyola game. I feel like the line is pretty fair, but leaning. I don't know. I'm leaning dog in the situation with Syracuse. I'm gonna
call me crazy, but I'm thinking I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on a Syracuse money line.
What is it? Plus 240, 30,
220.
All right, pretty close. All right, it's 12:30. Oh, we don't have a game. We're not an hour before tip-off today. It's about 2:40. So
yeah, we got a couple hours for tip-off.
Cool. All right, so let's move on to tomorrow's games. We got Creighton versus Gonzaga. The line is, I believe, 13.
I have FanDuel open right now. I have 13.5. So.
Okay, 13.5. That's interesting. 158.5 on the total. Did that change at all?
158.
Okay. Regardless, we're looking at a 87.5 to 75.2 Gonzaga win. So we're pushing us a Creighton cover there. I tend to agree. I feel like they can keep it close because if Marcus Zegarowski is on, they're going to be on. I think Gonzaga, they can keep it close for maybe 30 minutes, and then I think Gonzaga is going to take the reins and really drive this one home. Gonzaga just knows how to win basketball games. You can tell that throughout the course of the game until it really makes a difference for the last 10 minutes of the game that they know that they can take over a game, and they expect to take over a game, and they expect to get that win because they don't know any different because they've never lost. So,
I mean, they've lost before. Not every single person on the team's a freshman, so they have lost a game before.
They've never lost together, and it's not coming now.
I think they have, because their core is not all freshmen.
Yeah, but not
Kinsper, Timmy, and Suggs are all upperclassmen.
Suggs is a freshman, I'm pretty sure.
There's no way he's a freshman.
He's definitely a freshman.
I don't believe you.
Suggs is a freshman. I'll bet a lot of money that Suggs is a freshman. I'm right.
Fuck.
I know I'm right.
No way.
Yeah, he's a freshman. I don't know. I'm not going to bet this one. I don't like betting Gonzaga. I just like watching Gonzaga. Because
I will be betting this game.
I wish they weren't as good as they were.
I like the over.
158.5.
Yeah, you know how I love taking overs when they're irrationally high, and anything close to or above 160, I'm gonna lean the over. So, yeah,
that's a very fair point. All right,
just because Gonzaga can put up 95 by themselves.
Yeah, they could. They really could. What have they scored so far this tournament? I'm curious.
I know they scored 95 plus in the opening round.
98 and 87. That's pretty nuts.
That's so ridiculous.
All right, let's move on. We got 3 more games tomorrow. Florida State versus Michigan. That's 2.5 in favor of Michigan. The total set at 143.5. We are looking at a 73-68 Michigan win, so giving us a pretty hefty Michigan predicted cover. I tend to agree. I still think Florida State is a fraudulent basketball team. I've said it numerous times. You make a face every time.
Yeah, because it backfires every time.
Yeah, you're right. It does, but I still think they're fraudulent. They're fraudulent if they don't win the national championship because every team's got to lose eventually except for one.
Oh, okay. Except Gonzaga.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Michigan has found a way to play and keep a consistent flow without their starters that are currently out of the lineup. And yeah, I think they're going to be able to take this home. I think Michigan is just on a mission. In the beginning of the regular season, they looked like they were on a mission. They're the only Big Ten team still alive in the tournament. They were the consensus Big Ten favorite for a long time until Illinois and Ayo Dosunmu came out of nowhere, pretty much. Maybe not came out of nowhere, but
I would say nowhere.
Not nowhere, but they solidified themselves as like the deserving number 1 and the regular season champions. But I don't know. I feel like this line would be closer to where our predictions are at, but it's a little bit lower because all the other Big Ten teams got smacked. So Michigan's talent kind of plays down a little bit, I guess. They're not expecting them to compete as well as they normally would have if there were more Big Ten teams in here. So I'm leaning Michigan. I think they're actually legit, and I don't think the conference being a slouch in the tournament really plays much of a factor.
Yeah, I definitely am leaning Michigan. I wouldn't say it's going to be a blowout or close to it. I mean, you say Florida State's fraudulent. I strongly disagree with you there. But I think is not many teams can match the size of Michigan down low, and Florida State can.
That's true.
And what they also, Michigan has some small guards. Florida State has the biggest guards. That could cause some problems. Get just that extra couple inches in the passing lane, couple more tip passes than you're normally used to. So, Florida State will keep this game very competitive, but that 2.5 points, it's a low enough for me to like Michigan. I think just overall they're the better team, so they'll figure out a way to get there. And they're another team with Final Four experience with Livers and Brooks.
This is true.
So that I think they can go a long way here. They'll figure out. I mean, is it Brooks or Livers that's out?
Livers.
It's Livers, but he'll be there on the sideline coaching everybody. So
I agree.
I like his Wolverines team, and so they'll hopefully go on and play Bama, which is a game that I really want to see.
Well, let's jump over to that game. We have UCLA versus Alabama. Alabama are 6.5 point favorites, 145.5 on the total. We're looking at a 74-71 Alabama win, so giving us a UCLA projected cover there by a good margin. I'm trending in the Alabama department here. I just think that UCLA's luck is going to run out, even though it's not really lucky. They've been playing really, really well, but they almost didn't even make it out of the playing game against Michigan State. They went to overtime. They overcame a deficit to take it to overtime, and then they kind of just handled Michigan State in that 5-minute period. I don't know. They played well since. UCLA has wins over BYU, which is respectable, and they beat Abilene Christian by about 20 points. So I just think Alabama's in a class of their own. I think they're going to handle UCLA pretty well.
Yeah, 6.5. I know the model likes UCLA, and we love the Pac-12 here, but
Wait, timeout. I'm looking at the bracket, and I just want to jump in and say here, the Pac-12 is getting a lot of praise, but can we look at
are they getting lucky?
It's not that they're getting lucky. I mean, they are.
Oh,
Honestly.
yes, they are. Yes, they are. Oh my goodness.
Oregon doesn't play VCU. Then they beat Iowa, very respectable. Whatever. But Iowa looked
Doesn't
like
matter.
crap. Iowa turned the ball over. I think Iowa beat themselves. They just were not even anywhere close to getting ready to compete. Then you look at UCLA. They have a win over Abilene Christian and an overtime win. Then we go to the other side of the bracket.
Oregon State beat Tennessee,
And Oklahoma State. Respectable. And we're talking the most shit about them.
Oklahoma State is respectable. Tennessee is garbage.
Correct.
And
I agree.
We've been big on the anti-Tennessee train all year. Where else are they at?
I mean, USC has a win over Drake, and they
Ooh.
beat the crap out of Kansas.
That was impressive. That was really impressive. I don't care, if it's a bad year for Kansas. You just beat the living. They embarrassed them.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of Mickey Mouse. Like, in a tournament like this where VCU could have beat Oregon, I don't know, BYU could have beat UCLA, and we would have a completely different narrative right now, I feel like.
But they didn't. But Alabama, the way they can score, I gotta emphasize can. They have gone cold at times, but if they're firing, then they can beat anybody by 10, 15 points.
I'm with you there. All right, you want to move on to the last game?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, playing off the Pac-12, little tidbit I just had right there. We got Oregon versus USC. The spread is USC -2 and 138 on the total. I absolutely love USC here. I feel like they've shown in March, and especially in this tournament, that they're a lot more high-powered of a team and that they have won because of their own skill and not the other team kind of beating themselves, whether it was Oregon getting a no-contest advance to the round of 32 or Oregon playing an Iowa team that was not all there. I don't think that it's not that. I don't think it's that Kansas wasn't all there when they played USC, but I think USC forced Kansas into making all of the mistakes that they were making. Can't really say the same about Oregon. I feel like Iowa and their guards and Garza, they're just literally throwing passes out of bounds. They're throwing passes to people that weren't even looking at them. I just think that USC is much, much better than Oregon here. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree that they're definitely the more talented team. This is a USC team that they had a very good draft or recruiting class this past season, or the past couple of years. Really, they've been getting a lot of big classes, and it's paying off. They're a very good basketball team, but Oregon is not a team to sleep on either. So, and also when it comes to these these rivalry games, Oregon USC, I could definitely see it being a very competitive game both ways. But I do like USC. It's only a 2-point spread. Again, I'm taking USC because I do think that size mostly is going to cause a lot of problems for Oregon. And as much as they might hang around for a bit, USC I think will pull away enough to cover that the very small 2 points.
Yeah, something of note here. The game was at USC.
Ooh.
And USC won 72-68 and covered a 3.5 point, 72-58 and covered a 3.5 point spread. So that was back on February 22nd, a little bit over a month ago. So,
go to the model tab and look at the height differential for the 4 and 5.
Alrighty, give me a second. Wow. USC is a really big team. I didn't realize
Yeah,
this.
like all around.
Like really big team, like a very large team.
And they're
aside from the
athletic.
quarterback,
They're athletic too, so which cause a lot of problems for a lot of people.
I wouldn't be shocked if we see USC somewhat.
They play good defense. Oh God, I'm talking myself into USC over Gonzaga on Monday night or Tuesday night.
I don't know if we could do that.
But alas,
we are finished for these tournament games. I really like USC, like a lot.
yeah, I would say my
favorite
favorite plays probably for each day would be Syracuse and USC. So the late game in both days are my two favorite plays. One for each day.
Got a good UFC card tonight.
It is a good UFC card tonight. I don't know much, so I rely on you to give me picks.
I haven't been really great lately.
I had $0. I took out money and started this week with $50 in my FanDuel account. Started this morning with $394.
Okay.
Had a hell of a week, so we're ready to roll on all things college basketball, UFC, and NHL even.
And then next Thursday we have the start of the MLB season, and for the one TikTok viewer that we have, and for the one YouTube viewer that we have, we're going to be debuting a new show. We're going to iron out the details and let you guys know, but it's going to be exclusively on our YouTube channel, possibly streaming on TikTok, not sure. I mean, it's pretty easy to just open up the live stream and give you guys the same information. However, to talk to us, we want it to be in the YouTube chat just because it's easy to kind of keep everything going. But it's going to be called Log Off, Lock In, and it's going to be around 6 p.m. Eastern time every day that I get home from work. And, I mean, Sam and I haven't really ironed out the details completely about when we're going to go. If Sam's available at 6, I don't even know. I'm going to have to ask Sam that question.
I'm good.
Sam's good. All right, so pretty much daily, we're going to run through the MLB slate. I'm working on an interactive guide, breaking down pitchers' statistics versus left-handed batters and right-handed batters, and hitter statistics versus left-handed pitchers and right-handed pitchers. Going to kind of put everything together and end up with a guide that spits out some of the information that we would need to make some educated MLB betting picks. So we're going to release those for you. Hopefully turn into a nice little model, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. And we want to bring that information to you guys. And the show is going to be coming probably opening day, first one, right, Sam?
Yeah. It'll be Thursday, so we'll see you there.
Cool little logo.
Oh, the logo is sweet.
The logo is pretty sweet. And one more tidbit, not that this is getting very far anyways, but not going to have a 6 o'clock exact, set time every day for the show. It's going to just be based off of the Caps on Sports Twitter account tweeting out when we're going live. It could be 5:45. It could be 6:15. Keep you on your toes, but we want to get to you as soon as possible, so it might be before 6. Make sure you're following Caps on Sports on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at Caps on Sports. Follow us on our website, pretty much everything we do there. You can't follow us, but you can follow the site, www.capsonsports.com. Sam, any final thoughts before we sign off?
It's going to be a great day of college basketball. We're getting to the best part of the tournament here, so enjoy it, and best of luck.
I share those same sentiments. So, for myself, Tyler Blumenstick, and my co-host, Sam Meehan, this has been a Saturday episode, Sweet 16 edition of March Madness for the Cap Rack. We will see you maybe Monday, maybe Sunday. I don't know. We want to preview the Elite Eight somehow. We only have possible projections right now, but we'll figure out a way to get to you guys and get you that information. We're going to have 4 games to break down for the Elite Eight, but we will figure that out. That's why it's very important to follow us, because you get the very important information. So enjoy your college basketball day for today, and we'll see you